Yes.
Oh,
God, I thought I missed you.
yeah, you didn't.
Oh, I got it. And then do we want to look at this here?
Oh, we're good? We're live? All right, we're live.
We are live.
Tass, we're live.
Oh, good. That was great intro, guys. Great intro.
It was exciting.
He's Metz. He's Tass. It's the Metzger Tassoul Show.
All right.
There it is. Brian, just take a look at this. Folks, stand by 1 second here. Do we do anything here?
No, you're good.
With that there?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, we're live. All right, Mr. Tassoul, why don't you share with everybody the attention that you seek by
by being laid up on my couch with the curtains closed behind me? Yeah.
That's right. So what's going on?
Well, I had a little knee injury, so I had to go get that fixed and taken care of. And, non-weight bearing for 4 to 6 weeks, they say. We'll see how that goes, if they change their mind or not. But tomorrow's week 1, so 5 to go.
That's true. You know what? That's true. It's been a week already. You had surgery last Friday. I was thinking it was just a few days ago, but
Yep.
It's been a week already, right?
That's right. So it'll go by fast, sooner than later, right? It's tough, but we'll get through it. It doesn't hurt anymore, right? It's just a matter of staying off of it.
Yeah. Well, get well soon, buddy.
Okay. Good talking to you. I'm sure you have some inspiring words for everybody.
Well, the inspiring words are, I think we touched on this maybe, that as an industry, it's interesting though, going into the first quarter, I heard it's just a little tougher for schools. Now, listen, when I say it's tougher, when I say as an industry, as a whole, it's been down, well, we could believe whatever we want, but the numbers don't lie, and the CRMs and the Century Martial Arts and when the product sales dip comparatively to where they are and this, that, and the other or whatever, well, it tells us the industry is a little down. But I think people confuse that with that it needs to be down, that it has to be slower. And it just doesn't have to be slower. It just means we got to work a little harder and a little smarter to get the same results that we were getting when the environment is great outside, the economy, the communities, the spending, whatever you want to call it. In a great economy and in a great location, we always say, you could be a C player, but you could be disguised looking like an A player in a great environment, great economy, great location. But can you take that same person who's starting to pat themselves on the back, feeling good about themselves, can you stick them into a C location or into a downed economy, and can they still produce the same results? The answer is they cannot, unless they make some changes or work differently. So anyway, today's show is about getting, trying to attract more adults, getting more adults. But I wanted to start off with the definition of what I mean when I say that the industry as a whole is struggling because some of us have not made the changes that we need to make or adapt to what we need to do to not struggle.
Yeah. And I think part of the reality is that some people don't even know what changes to make because they don't know where they need to make the changes and what they need to fix, right? And that's the other dangerous part of it.
Right.
So,
well, and the only way to know that is
you say it, because I don't want to be the boring guy.
Stats.
That's right. Yep.
Let me ask you this, because we're almost to a dozen watchers right now. So, and I know you start getting nervous right around a dozen people, right? You don't like a lot of.
And I'll stop talking and I'll let you talk the majority of the time. So
that's why we kind of try to keep these numbers as low as possible, because you just got, again, tomorrow's a week from surgery. You're on Oxy and whatever you're on, and I don't want you to stress. So I told Perry to limit this show to 12 people.
Okay, good to know. Good advice.
But let me ask you, how often do you feel when talking with martial arts school owners, do you feel that they make changes based on what they believe, based as opposed to stats and data?
Yeah, well, it's the majority of the time, right? The majority, and by the way, it's human nature for people to have a gut reaction or a knee jerk reaction to something, right? So, a parent comes into your office and they've got a gripe because classes are too busy, and immediately you need to change your class schedule, right? This is an example, but it's the only parent that said something to you, right? But then in your mind, you're like, well, then other parents must be thinking, or the parent says that, everyone's been talking and this schedule, there's just too many people in classes, and then you start to believe that particular thing, right? Now, may that be accurate? It may be accurate, but like, let me give an example. You've had 4 people in your class, and now you have a mass intro, and now you have 24 people in your class. Do you really need to have another class time? Or have they just had the benefit of having 4 people in their class for the last 6 months, and now all of a sudden we have 24? We don't need a new class time for 24 people in a class. But in the parents' minds, we may need that, right? That's an example of parent knee-jerk reaction because of what they're seeing. And then sometimes we'll believe that. And so literally just got off the call with a client, and they're like, attrition is worse this year. I said, well, okay, well, how do you know that? Right. And the answer is, well, it just feels like it's worse. And so we dissected, we looked at last year's numbers, we looked at this year's numbers, and the reality is their attrition for Q1 of this year is half of what it was for last year. So that gut feeling, by the way, was wrong in this case. And in some cases, when people have the gut feeling, that gut feeling may be right. And so I always just say, trust but validate. So let's take what you're saying is true, but let's make sure that we validate that truth and that we're not doing what we all do as humans, which is human nature, and take a snapshot of time and believe that that's what's actually going on, and then make adjustments or knee-jerk reactions because of that. Is it important to have on our radar? Is it important to monitor? Yes. But this is why we let the data drive the decisions. And again, it's been, 11 years now consulting, and I get tired of hearing myself say it, right? You got to track the numbers. You got to track the numbers. You have to track the numbers. But you can't drive. It's very difficult to drive a business without knowing your numbers, right? Can you drive a vehicle without your dashboard? The answer is, yeah, you can do it. But are you going to be going the speed limit? You have no idea, right? Do you have enough gas to get you from point A to point B? It tells you so much of what you need to know. Literally, dude, it's like me. Like, you don't realize in life how often you use something or need something, right? And how great this human body is that we have until you can't use something. And so now I'm on one leg here and I've got to be non-weight bearing for 4 to 6 weeks. Man, life changes in a heartbeat. Like, there's a lot of things that change because of that, right? And by having that leg being healthy allows me to do so much more. By having your stats, right, and knowing your numbers, it's going to allow you to do so much more and make better decisions is really what it comes down to, as opposed to, decisions that may or may not work. And sometimes we have this dopamine that happens because we make this knee-jerk decision and it worked, and we do it again and it worked. Well, that would be called luck, right? So when you do that, that's called luck, and good for you. But I would rather be prepared and make better decisions. And then, this whole idea of, man, that person's so lucky, right? It's like the harder they work, the luckier they get. Well, if I can keep all of those numbers, keep all of those stats, it will allow me to make those quote unquote luckier decisions moving forward.
So the other thing too, just as an example, is how many times have you had parents say, you need a bigger place. You need a bigger place because your 6 o'clock kids class happens to be massive. That parent's not there at 7:15 when there's 4 kids on the mat, right? So this is why we talk about scheduling. There's a right way and a wrong way to do a class schedule. It's so important to growth, but we're not talking about scheduling, talking about adults. So for those of you watching, and I think at this point, it just may be family and friends, but for those of you watching, why do you think adults sign up for martial arts classes? Can you just type in the comments on why an adult would sign up for martial arts lessons, regardless of your art? Because again, we've talked about this before too. I'd be willing to bet, and if you want to test this out, you can test it out. But anybody that comes in to sign up for martial arts, or anybody that goes to a gym and goes and lifts weights, if somebody said to them, "Hey, do you want to come see me for 3 days a week for the next 5 years to be," there we go, fitness, or to be, in great shape, no self-defense, or to be muscular, to be strong, or would you just like to drink this drink and you're going to get everything you want from martial arts without having to do it? I'm willing to bet that the majority of people are saying, let me just take the drink. I want to instantly, I'll be in great shape, I'll be strong. So do they really want martial arts? Or do they want the results of martial arts? Do they really want to go to the gym and lift weights, or do they want the results of the gym and lifting weights? You can't market effectively unless you know the target and what people really want. If all we do is constantly market martial arts, which we have to do that because there is a sliver of your community of people that are seeking out martial arts, right? But it's the results of martial arts, right? So we have, fitness, self-defense, and to get in shape, health reasons, right? Health reasons, mainly strength, cardio, doctor's order, right? You got to do something. Mr. Convento, self-defense, fitness, personal development. So I'm going to throw it to you, Tass, but if you want to get more adults in your school, don't always just rely on some kind of martial arts adult trial special. Right. You got to learn how to do mass enrollments for adults by offering what it is that they want without a big price commitment, if any, and without a big time commitment. And that's called a mass enrollment. Once they see the fun and the value in martial arts and that is the path to get them what they want, then you can sell them. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't know, how many of you that are watching have heard the term, USP before, right? That's your unique selling proposition, or it's an elevator pitch. So when you're on vacation in an elevator and somebody asks you what you have a 20 or 30-second elevator pitch, and what is that? And I've had that back in the day, and I'll be honest, I don't do that a whole lot these days, right? It's typically, I'm in the martial art industry, I'm a consultant, right? Because I don't get caught up in the small talk. That's just me lately. But a proper way to do a USP, right, would be something along the lines. I'm going to give you a kid's example because that's what what we've done for years, right? Like mine used to be something along the line of, we teach kids how to develop razor sharp focus and have unshakable self-confidence in one 30-minute lesson. And like that was kind of, and that's maybe not exactly the way that it was, but it was close. And the idea was I need someone to say, well, how do you do that? That's the response that I'm trying to get, right? And so when it comes to your marketing, and I'll get to the adult mass intro thing in a second, but when it comes to marketing, to your point, Metz, begin with the end in mind, the old Stephen Covey principle, right? Like, what is the result that we're after, and what are we doing? When we market that result, we're marketing this result. We almost need people to lean into it and be like, okay, how is this possible? And how do I do this? What is this? As opposed to leading with martial arts and all the benefits that it can do for you, we reverse engineer that marketing to here's all the things, here's the results. Imagine yourself this, all these things, so that you get this result in mind. And it's painted this clear picture, right? And then, well, how do I do that? And the answer could be, by the way, martial arts. The answer could be go to the gym 3 times a week. The answer could be CrossFit, personal training. It could be the answer could be really any of those things, because what is the vehicle to get us from where we are to where we want to go, right? And same thing with kids. Kids' confidence, martial arts is not the only activity that can help kids build confidence. We all understand that, right? But we use that as a vehicle to do so. So in saying that, just I think important to remember that, we just can't spew the rhetoric of martial arts over and over and over with, by the way, bullet point out, right? Whether it's for adults, and if it's, fitness, self-defense, safety, or whatever you're doing, or kids, it's confidence and discipline. And can't just bullet point out those results. We have to really get involved and understand how people feel and get them emotional, because we know that people that have emotion tend to buy on emotion, not on logic. Just like Mr. Metzger said, they're not buying a 3-day-a-week gym program because they're excited about going to the gym and sweating their rear end off for 30 minutes or an hour time for 3 days a week. They would rather just drink the drink and be able to get the results. So, but that being said, the thing I'll say about getting adults into your school is we do have to think outside the box a little bit on how we do this, because when we do mass intros for kids, right, we will disguise the mass intro by using some sort of free community event. Well, the same rules apply when we do this for adults, but it's got to be a different theme, right? We're going to get a lot more kids in, or parents to sign their kids up for a free community event, which is goal setting through board breaking. Well, we're not going to get the same clientele of adults to be able to sign up for a free community event when it says goal setting through board breaking, because there's also a lot of pride for adults as well, and they think they can set their own goals. They can do their, so we have to kind of tap into, well, what are some different things that we can do, right? And a great one for adults, I think, you start looking at the self-defense perspective, whether they've watched the John Wick series or not. I think every adult maybe goes into martial arts because they want to be the John Wick, right? That's the mentality in their mind, right? There's even memes about that, like, what you think martial arts is, and what you think you look like, and then what you actually look like, right? There's the whole meme series. But when we understand, like, people want to learn maybe how to defend themselves, they maybe want to get into a little bit better shape. Well, how do we do that, and how can we attract those people, right? So this is where we'll talk about doing a free self-defense and safety workshop, right? And we do this for free. I want to be mindful, because we have one goal and one goal only, and that's to get as many people in as possible. So once we do that, then we can get people to enroll and worry about the quote unquote quality of revenue, if you will, right? But I'm not worried about revenue when I'm doing a free community event, because when I do and I want to maybe pause there for a second, right? I'm not doing a free self-defense and safety workshop. I don't know if you heard that the same way as what I said earlier, but I'm doing a free community event, which happens to be a free self-defense and safety workshop. Because when I say free community event, it sounds like everybody should be coming to that, as opposed to just a free seminar, free workshop, whatever that may be. So a lot of this is also in the presentation and how you present this. But this could go, for example, you could do this to anybody. You could do this to real estate agents are great for this, right? But you could even do this in your own school if you don't want to work that hard. Put out a fishbowl in your school. Have a sign that says drop your business card in, or write your name and information down for your chance to win a free self-defense and safety workshop, as an example, because they're already a target market. They're in your school, and people are going to fill it out, and they're going to and that would be for you and up to 15 of your friends, as an example. So they're going to fill it out. They're going to put their name in the fishbowl. And then we're going to do a drawing. But guess what? We're probably going to draw 4 or 5 people, because we also realize not everyone's going to bring 15 people with them. If they bring 2 or 3 or 4 people with them, that's great. So I always liken this to like the old Tupperware. I mean, I never had one. I think my mom did back in the day, but a Tupperware party where you invite people to your house and everybody comes and you have this little party. At the end, people buy Tupperware, right? So very similar concept, but you're pulling these names of people from your student base, and they can invite up to 15 friends or coworkers or whoever it may be. And again, this is an example, but you could go to XYZ business and do the same thing and have them, invite their coworkers to come in, and do this with several different businesses, whatever they are. And you offer it at a certain date, certain time. And I would say a 90-minute free self-defense and safety workshop is plenty of time for you to have that free event. So that's really step one, is how to market and get out there and get people to actually come. And that's through a free self-defense and safety workshop, right? Whether that's business cards in a fishbowl at your school. And just to be clear, I want to make sure I restate this. I'm not giving every one of those people their own time slot for a free 90-minute workshop. or 90-minute self-defense safety workshop, right? I'm not doing that. I'm combining all of those to be able to come to this one event that we're running. And when the spots fill, the spots fill. So that's really step one of that. Metz, do you want me to go on to step two of that, or do you want to chime in?
No. Go step 2 of that event. Step
Yeah.
2 of how to convert them. Go ahead. And then I'm going to give another example.
Okay. So the next, what you're going to do, right, is you're going to run you're going to follow through on what you said you're going to do. You're going to run a 90-minute free self-defense and safety workshop, which during that workshop, I think you have to keep a few things in mind. Number one, if people are there for self-defense and fitness as an example, you cannot kill people while they're there. Here's what I mean when I say that, right? All right, welcome everybody. We're going to get started. Let's do some, first of all, everyone drop down 25 push-ups. Good, roll over 25 sit-ups. You're going to kill these people that are coming to your school that were looking for something fun and exciting to do as a social event with their friends or family members, and they're going to be exhausted. You got to remember the majority of the people that are probably coming to you are deconditioned people, and so you want them to get a nice workout, a little rosy in the cheeks, but you also don't want to think that it's so difficult that they're never going to be able to do this, right? And so maybe we're going to teach them some self-defense moves, against an attack from the front. Maybe it's against some wrist attacks, some chokes, right? A side attack from the back. Maybe there's an attack from the ground, whatever that may be, right? 90 minutes worth of content. And at the end, and this is where it's a little bit different than what we do with kids. At the end, what we're going to do is we're going to thank everybody for coming. And we're going to let everyone know, say, this is what we do, right? We say, listen, we appreciate everybody coming. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day and being here. But I will tell you, listen, God forbid anything were ever to happen to anybody, and we hope that doesn't, right? And I think everybody on here would agree that you cannot possibly learn everything that you need to know about self-defense in one 90-minute workshop, and we understand that. And so what we've done is we put together a 6-week, 8-week, whatever you want to do, 4-week, 12-week, whatever you want to do, self-defense and safety series. And here's what we're going to be doing. On week 1, we're going to cover, now today, guys, we did a few attacks from the front, but we're going to be covering the 10 front attacks that you must know how to defend yourself against. Week 2 is all about attacks from behind. Week 3 is about ground defense. Week 4 is about multiple attackers. Week 5 is about weapons defense. Week 6 is about carjacking. Whatever your theme, it doesn't matter. Please understand conceptually, there needs to be a theme, because this is what builds the value. And if we're thinking about, what are the results that people are looking for? I'm not going to say self-defense against a wrist grab. If it was me, I'd be going to ChatGPT and saying, give me 8 themes on self-defense techniques that I can teach, but create a sexy title for each of them that's result-based. That's exactly what I would do.
And you would also follow up with that, and how do I do those?
And then, yes. And then, by the way, how do I do those techniques? No. But you're going to have an unbelievable list, but it's about how you prompt it, because you can just prompt it and say, just give me that, or with a results-based mindset, right? And then when you're telling people, we're going to have an 8-week, a 6 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever. In this case, an 8-week series. And every blank day, I don't even want to say a day, because some of you are like, well, I can't Tuesdays because we have class. You're missing the point. I don't care what one day of the week that you do it. It's a 1-hour seminar where they're going to come in and they're going to learn whatever the theme of the week is. Normally that program is X. I'm just going to give you an example. 8 weeks for $199. However, because you participated in the self-defense and safety workshop tonight, and really my mission and my goal is just to help keep our community safe, anyone that wants to enroll for it tonight, it's just $99. That's it. It's $79. I don't care what you charge. It's a low barrier because adults, they have this mindset of a beginning date and an end date, right? It's very hard for adults to just commit to something that's just ongoing. This is just simply 8 lessons, 6 lessons, 6 or 8 weeks, whatever that is. They get committed to that. It also has a low price point. Once I get them into that program, and you'll have a lot of people that'll sign up for that, right? And then once I get them into that program, it gives me the next 6 to 8 weeks to promote what my real agenda is, which is to get them in our martial art class. And remember, they're coming into a free self-defense and safety workshop. They're not coming to sign up to do, again, plug in your style, but martial arts, barefoot, in a white uniform. And there's this disconnect, which this 6 to 8 weeks allows us to connect the bridge on those two things. and be able to have them do those things over time, we can either A, say, hey, you're really doing a great job in the self-defense class. I'd love to come in and try out one of our martial art classes. Hey, listen, Mrs. Smith, if Mrs. Johnson does it, will you come in and try it out? That's an option, right? Or you just start slowly introducing martial arts to them over the 6 to 8 weeks like it's your regular program. The end of that program, then you're having a quote-unquote mass intro, which is into your regular program. Look, I know you all came in for the free self-defense workshop. You've been doing this 6 or 8 week program to learn this. And by the way, a lot of you have been doing a really great job in the class. A lot of you have been asking about how to continue in our martial art program. This is something that we do every belt level in our martial art program. There is a self-defense aspect to what we do. But in addition to that, you're going to get X, Y, and Z. And look, if you want to get started, here's what our classes normally are. Here's what it is if you want to take advantage of it now. Who wants to get started? That's a very easy funnel to pull people in from free into a low time commitment, right? Low point barrier of entry program that ultimately turns into them training for a longer period of time, right? It's just a system. It's very simple to follow.
And by the way, guys, this is a free, not a lot of effort way to get new adult students. He told you at the beginning, you can use your current adult students to drop their name or business card or whatever they have if they would be interested in having, doing a free fitness and self-defense seminar or self-defense and team building seminar or whatever for them and their coworkers or their staff. And you want to get names because he also said he may pull 2, 3, 4 people to fill that up on when you're going to start that free, when you're going to do that free event. Now, when you do the series, here's another key. Get at least 2 adult students. Now pay attention because there's 2 versions of this. Get 2 current adult students, a male and a female, that you can ask to come and assist you with those. So they can integrate and build rapport and bond with some of these guests. And those people can say, hey, did you ever think about coming to the adult classes? You should do it. And then you step in and say, hey, I think you'd love our Wednesday night class or our Monday and Wednesday martial arts class. Why don't you come try it? A lot of adults don't start because they're intimidated. They feel like they will look funny. They're nervous. Once you get them comfortable and they realize this isn't so scary and this isn't so bad on the mats, then it's easier to convert an adult. The other key thing is you must make sure you do a lot of partner drills with adults, and you must rotate the partners. So if I came with my buddy and all I do is team up with my buddy and that's all I work with, well, if my buddy's not joining, I'm not joining, right? So I like to integrate maybe some of the other adult students that are students into that to where they're partnering up with them too and building rapport. If you don't know each other, guys, introduce yourself, encourage each other, have fun. Let's do this drill, whatever the next drill is, self-defense technique. So some of you will say, I've done these, I've done it, it doesn't work. You have to understand it does work, but you got to change the presentation and the way you do them. And then, sir, Mr. Hutchings, you had said originally your adult students range from older teens to seniors, and it's about, some people say that they can't attend because they can't fit it in their schedule. Well, this is why I said earlier, there's a right way and a better way to do class schedules. And you got to do it to where it can accommodate the majority of people. Some people like to come a little later and some people don't. They like to come earlier. So we like to flip-flop those, in alternate days on when we have a later class and earlier class. But we're not going to get into schedule now. And then also used to run community events. But this is interesting. I want to make sure everyone sees this. So you said that we used to max out with 20 students. However, this year we're doing the exact same thing, but every free event, we only have 4. By the way, depending on how often you did a free event, if you did one every Saturday and you can get 4, that's like 16 leads a month coming on your mats, right? But then I would say, well, what are we doing to market it? If you've been marketing it in the past on social media, that eventually starts to get overdone and stale. Don't know why, but I've seen it all over the country. It would work very well for a while, and then pretty soon it wouldn't pull. For us, that doesn't work. We got to get in front of our market. That's why Tassoul said, do the social proofing with your own students. Do you want to do a free team building and self-defense seminar for you and all your coworkers at work? Let them be your advocate to get people excited to say, yeah, I talked to my boss, my manager, or my staff, or my friends, or my we'd love to. I just need a head count and names. And I don't know if you have an app where they can fill it out online with their waiver, or if you want to give them to the person. But have everybody do that as an interest list. If I see, I want to get 20 people. So if I got to pull 4 different people at 4 different companies to get 20, I'll do it. Here's another thing. All of you should be concerned with retaining the students that you have. And if you work with kids, right, have you ever gotten the parents on the floor? Some of you will probably say yes. And the majority of you, if not all of you, will probably not have any system to that at all. You just do it every now and again. As an example, let parents know that the first Wednesday and Thursday of every month, I'm making this up, the first Wednesday and Thursday of every month is our parent coaches day, where we're going to bring you out on the mat for about 10 minutes. Not for the whole class, but for about 10 minutes or so, where we want you working with your child, doing some different drills. It really inspires your kids. It excites your kids. The kids love it. It helps bonding in the martial arts between the parent and your child parents. So the first Wednesday and Thursday, if you can make sure that you're here, we want to call you out just for 10 minutes to do some drills. But when we do that, we will always then say, all right, before I sit you down, parents, I need all the parents to find another parent to partner up with. We're going to have kids versus adults. If you don't know each other, introduce yourself, say hello. Now, every month, I'm not going to start pushing and saying, hey, by the way, you guys did great if you'd like to try our adult classes. But what it does do is opens the door for our program director to say, you did great out there, great job. Hey, I know I've been talking to you. Why don't you try the adult class? You'd love it. If Mr. Johnson does it, will you do it? Or whatever, right? But that's about rapport building. But at the end of the day, it's a retention builder. But if all you do is get the parents out there to work with a child, they're not experiencing what an adult class would be like. That's why you always want to get the adults to work with the other adults, because you also want them to become friends. So even if they don't join, the parents look forward to coming to the school, put their kids in class while these 2 friends catch up 2 or 3 times a week. So there is a system to the madness here that's going to increase your chances to retain your students longer, and also in this context, get you more adults on the floor. But you got to be consistent. You got to do it. So there's 2 things. Number 1, have a system where parents come out on the floor at least once a month, 10 minutes. Do something every now and then where you ask all your adult students and all your parents that don't train, would anybody be interested in doing a free fitness and self-defense seminar? If you are, just put your name in here and we'll talk to you about it for you and your coworkers, right? That's 2 things that doesn't take a lot of energy or effort. Tass?
So, you got Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up in the next, 2 months here, right? And so I don't know if we stumbled upon this or exactly what or how this happened, but for years we were doing the Mother's Day workout was typically like on a Saturday at 11 o'clock, right? We would have the kids would sign up to bring their mom in for that class, right? And so whatever the number was, if we had 25 kids, that meant there was going to be basically 50 people, right? You have 25 kids plus their moms, 50 people were going to be on the mat. That's a busy mat for us, right? On a 990 square foot mat. So we would limit the number of people participating. At the end of that, we would do we'd award the moms with a pink belt, right? And a pink belt certificate, which, by the way, I think is great, right? I think is great. I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago now where, I know exactly what it was. This is something that evolved from not being prepared. We did not order pink belts. And so there's no way we could do this pink belt because we didn't have them. So instead, I pivoted. I said, here's what we're going to do. On Wednesday, Thursday, so for us, right, we have an A day, B day, C day. Wednesday, Thursday happens to be our B day. I said, on Wednesday, Thursday during Mother's Day week, we're going to invite all the moms to come on the floor for every class is what we're going to do, right? We're not going to give away pink belts because we don't need to give away pink belts to that many parents on the floor. So instead, what we did is we went and we bought long stem roses, right, and put them in a 5-gallon bucket. And this year, my fiance was telling me that there was a hack on TikTok Like you can go to Costco and buy long stem roses for $1 a piece, by the way. So this doesn't cost you a lot of money. And you go get them and you put them on your floor in a 5-gallon bucket, and you bring the moms on the floor for every single class. And again, I won't get into the details, but very similar to the coach's day, right? You're going to have the kids work with the parents, the kids work with the kids, the moms work with the other moms. And at the end, you need to create excitement and say, kids, how many of you are so happy that your moms did class with you today? How many of you like to see your moms do martial arts, right? And this is the one time a year for us that we can quote unquote pitch or present the moms, right? And we say, listen, parents, you see how many of these kids want you to train? Look, here's what we're doing. And I'm going to give you 2 options that you can do, right? One option is we're giving you 30 days of martial arts in a uniform absolutely free. But I will tell you, it's only for the first 10 people so we don't overfill our classes. And also, I will tell you, if you do take the free uniform, all we ask is that you give it the college try and try it for the 30 days. That is pretty much the pitch, team. Like, that's what we do, right? And so you want to have a call to action, right? And you want to have them, and then after the class, all the kids go grab their, carefully so they don't poke themselves with a thorn, but grab their parents a rose. And there's so much that you can do with that, from, pictures and all the things, right? There's a lot more that you can do. But our goal was, hey, let's have a little retention event where we get the moms on the floor, have it fun for the kids and the parents, and then can we get some moms out of it? And I believe last year we had 3. I'm just thinking on the top of my head, we had 3, and those 3 moms are still training with us today, right? Now, this is not a big pull. This is not something you go like, oh my God, this is an amazing idea. I'm going to get a ton of new students. You're not. You're going to get some students. And it's an easy deal because you're doing it during your normal classes anyways, and it costs you a little bit of time and the long stem rose to hand out to all the parents, which you should be doing something for Mother's Day for retention anyway. So we just combine those 2 forces. Now, for Father's Day, we did the same thing. And then we had a cooler with a bunch of ice and a bunch of beer in it. And so when they were done, we said, Dads, you can go grab yourself a beer on the way out. And they opened the cooler and they pulled it up. It was a Dad's root beer is what it was, right? Is what we gave them. But it was just something that we had fun with. But there's a specific dad that I know that enrolled from that event last year and has since done our Master's Club program and has paid for his Master's Club program in full. I don't know that we would have gotten him if we didn't run that event last year for dads. I have no idea. And so there's these small things that you can do. And the twist on, so there's May, June, Mother's Day, Father's Day, rose for one, and Dad's root beer for the next. I'm just giving you the hack, and you can go ahead and do it. If you think of something better, by all means, but just do it, right? Just do it and have the event. And the other thing that's great to run the first quarter of the year, but doesn't need to be just the first quarter, you could run that now, is for us, it's called the Yellow Belt Challenge, right? We go white belt is our very first belt, and then yellow belt. And yellow belt's anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks, depending on when somebody starts. But you could do a yellow belt challenge, a gold belt challenge, an orange belt challenge, whatever that is, that first belt is for you. And we will do that for free, where they're going to get the uniform and 2 or 3 months worth of training until they test for their first belt. Because now they've been indoctrinated. They've got the first belt. What happens when they get the first belt and certificate? Their emotions go up. Do you think they're a higher state to enroll at that point? The answer is 100% yes. And now we ask for the enrollment, and they're going to want to continue in the program that you're doing. So these are all different ways that we can do these things. But I think sometimes, and Metz, I'll just call it out. Like, you and I have had personal conversations about this. Like what's the cheat code for trying to get ahead financially? I mean, listen, I didn't really start getting the consulting that I needed and that I followed until I was in my late 30s. I didn't really start investing for my future until I was in my early 40s, right? So I feel like there's this part of me that needs to play catch up. And so sometimes that can alter the decisions that are made based off of decisions that were or were not made years ago. And why I'm saying this to you is I think that some of us think, well, I'm not going to do that for 3 or 4 students. I need 30 or 40 students. Well, you're not going to get 30 and 40 students if you don't get the first 3 or the first 4. So we've got to we have to execute, put things into place, because we got to get to 3 before we get to 30. And then we get to 4, and then 5, and then 6. And when you combine all of these things together, you can get to your 30 or 40, but it's doing everything. And I know that sometimes it seems like a lot of work. At the end of the day, this is a very, very simple business. The martial arts business is a very simple business, but it does not mean that it's easy, and it's hard work, and it's hard work for everybody. And so just think about that, as you guys are going through these next few months. You have a perfect opportunity to implement Mother's Day and Father's Day workouts. It's up to you whether or not you want to do that. And listen, if you want to put your own spin on it, by all means, do that, and then post that in our group and show us what you did or what you guys did. And maybe there'll be something like, dang, let's steal that idea for next year. And this is how we all grow as an industry, because at the end of the day, that's why we're here, right? There's no secrets about what we do. It's we want to see the industry do better, because we know if the industry does well, we all will do well. It's like the old school health club deal. Man, health club industry got really hard for a while, because people would open a health club, they would do a pre-sale, and they would never even open the doors of a health club, and they just take all the money. Or they'd open a health club, the health club would be open for 12 months, and then they would close. And so now when you were a legit health club that came to town and you wanted to make a difference in that community, people didn't have trust because of what had happened before. And so if martial arts schools are not successful, or they're not treating their clients or customers the right way, or they're closing, God forbid, that hurts all of us. Poor instruction, poorly run facilities that close, that hurts all of us. So we're here to try and elevate the industry so that's easier for all of us in the industry. And that's really why we do what we do.
No, I do it for the money.
Attaboy. But how's that working for you?
Not well. Kidding, everybody. Lighten up, industry. It is true. I mean, we do consulting, but we don't, it's not like we hold things back necessarily. I mean, if somebody asks a question, we're going to answer you. But if you don't get some things from this and implement them, I don't know how to help you. I mean, you just got to execute. And that's the one thing we say over and over. We'll pave the way for you, but you got to walk the path. I mean, but you can't say it doesn't work. I look at Mr. Peter Johnson. He said, we did the Yellow Belt Challenge. 2 parents enrolled. 1 was just nominated for Masters Club. And how much effort and energy and stress did that take, right? That's the thing. I mean, there are just certain things you got to make part of your system to where it's just automatic.
If I told you to go put 5,000 flyers out in your community, right, I could understand why you'd say, I'm not doing that. And I would tell you, don't do that. Because you're going to go out. I remember, because years ago, I had my team, right? I thought this is the way that we made it, right? Like, guys, we got to get out 5,000 flyers in the community. Okay, well, what are you going to do? You're going to go drop them on the windshield of all the cars. And then I got a call, and one of my employees was in the back of a cop car. He's like, sir, we got in trouble for handing out these flyers. And I'm like, all right, so what do they want you to do? They want us to take them off all the cars and come back. I said, well, take them off all the cars and come back. So I understand that effort versus the risk versus the return or the reward is not there. But for these things that we're giving you, there's very little, there's no risk, right? There's a big opportunity. There's reward, but I will tell you that the effort it's just a little bit of effort, and you're going to get some of that reward. So it would be, to your point, it would be silly for you not to at least try it and do it.
100%, right? And then we have schools. One of your clients, I just talked to him and them yesterday. Husband, wife, very successful over in the Midwest. They're way up first quarter this year compared to last, right? But they're on it, right? They made some changes. They're doing some things differently. They're on top of things. And I just trained this morning with Jason Patino, BJJ and Muay Thai school right down the street. We train every week. He's up quite a bit from last year, but we're making changes, right? So the people that just sit there and think, should I do it? Should I? In the meantime, we're all doing it, right? So it's just go execute, get it done, but you got to know why you're doing it, right? If you don't have a why, if you're comfortable, that's going to stifle you if you're comfortable. By the way, everybody, I can't wait. July 18th, 19th, 20th, we have MAIA Con. in Orlando, Florida, at the Disney Coronado Springs Resort in conjunction with the US Open, ISKA World Championships, Karate Championships. But the topics, and we'll be putting these out probably in the next week or so, but I'm very excited about some of the topics. I was going to spill the beans because I'm so excited about some of these things that's a little relevant to the whole conversation. But, you know, you guys just come to MAIACon. You know, we typically are full. We max that out. I mean, it's been 2 years in a row, and we're well over 500 people that come to that event. And that's about the max there because of the room space. But anyway, I just want to see you guys do well. I want to see everyone succeed. I also can't stand seeing somebody put a ceiling on themselves or their team, their staff. No ceilings. No ceilings. Like, let's just bust through the ceilings and continue to scale and grow. So go out there and do it. This was more adult oriented. And Tass, it looks like you have another thought.
Well, I'm just, as I have CNBC on the background with the breaking news read on the flashing on the screen. Like, the other thing is this, like, you know, we can all make
CNBC is what you watch. That's interesting.
Yeah, I was just looking at the markets. Yeah, they've been great the last couple of weeks if you guys haven't been paying attention. But
are they soaring right now? What's the breaking news?
Dude, they're unbelievable. Whether that's unbelievably bad or unbelievably good, I can't tell you. Yeah, it's it's another day in the markets. Regardless, here's what you're hearing on the news, right? Well, we're on our way to a recession, or we're potentially already in a recession, right? Great. So is that going to paralyze you and stop you from doing the things that you should do to grow your business, right? Or next thing that's going to happen is like, well, we just can't do this anymore because our vendors have raised prices and they're just absolutely ridiculous on where the prices are. And so, okay, good. What are you going to do? You're going to close down and go open a new business that's not going to be affected by the recession or by the news or whatever that may be, right? My point is this, like, if you literally just ignored what was happening in the world and just did your business the way it's supposed to be done, you're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have high points and low points, but nothing gets fixed. Nothing gets better when we blame things on other things or other people. Because what that does is it takes the responsibility off of me as the owner and places it on somebody else. And now I can't change. And one of the things that I have always been good at is always saying, how could I have done that better? What can I learn from this lesson? Why did this person leave our organization, right? What did I do? What could I have done? As opposed to, oh, they left because, you know, they weren't a good employee anyway. No, I have to think about those things and be mindful of that. And when you do that, you can make the changes, right? So you're going to have a business, and you guys pulled it out and survived back in 08, 09 era, right? I mean, we survived in 08 and 09, and we figure it out. And this is where it actually gets to be fun, right? Where we get to figure things out. But I think a lot more of us will actually take this quote unquote potential recession. If we're already in it, are we not? Are we going there? I really don't care. But most of us are going to use that as an excuse as to why our business isn't growing. And the reality is maybe we just heard the news and we stopped trying because, well, why should I even try right now when this is where we're at? Well, I would say these are the times you need to try the most and try the hardest, because this is what's going to get you through the other side. And then you have to remember that when you're out through the other side and you've survived it and you've made it and potentially even thrived, well, what would happen if you put that same effort, energy into the things that you did to make you survive, to actually do that during a time when there is no recession or signs and the economy is amazing and things are going great? Well, then how much would you flourish if you went out there and did it? Usually what happens is a failing school is because of lack of activity in the things that we're doing. And not because we're not doing things necessarily, but because we're not focused on doing the right things. We go and we clean the floor and we mop, we wet mop, we dry mop, we make sure the ceiling tiles are replaced. Everything looks pretty, and we're busy. And we're busy organizing. Our school looks amazing, but the door is just not swinging. People aren't coming in. Because you're busy doing the wrong thing. That's why. You have to focus on the things that move the needle at your school. And having a clean bathroom, as much as you want to argue how great that is for retention, And I agree with you when it's like 7 layers removed, because I've been into facilities, a dance facility that had 600 students, and it was the worst looking bathroom I've ever seen, but they still had 600 students. I promise you, she wouldn't have had 800 if she had a clean bathroom. So remember, focus your energy on the right areas, on the recruitment, on the retaining the students, on the revenue in your school. And then over all of that, I would tell you, it's on the relationships that you have with your people, because the relationships go far beyond, and you'll recruit more, you'll retain more, you'll generate more revenue when you and your team have the relationships with the people that are in your business. Because people quit martial arts, but they don't quit relationships. And that is something that I think gets overlooked so often in our industry. And so you have to be the example, right? You have to be the one. And I'm saying this because I'm reminding myself of this, but you've got to be the one to lead by example. Go in there, create the relationships with your students, with your families, create the relationships with your team. Your team loves to see you there, right? And be there. And really, let's take this. It's the start of the second quarter. We're halfway through the first month of the second quarter. The best time to start was the beginning of the year. The second best time is right now. And let's just go make a difference. And then see how much fun, and remember why we got into this industry. Because it's so easy to get to a level and then plateau and then just get stale and bored. And you got to go do stuff to make stuff happen. That's the G version of it. But you got to go do stuff to make stuff happen. And when it happens, I think that's where you all feel alive again. That's where the dopamine hits happen, right? Like, man, we did this market thing. We got 2 new students. We did this thing. We got 3 new students. And it creates a snowball effect where great things can happen. So it all starts by taking a small step forward, and then the following steps after that will help continue that momentum forward.
Well said, sir.
That's all I got.
Yep, couldn't agree more. So let's go out and make it happen and do it. And you, sir, have to go to PT now.
I do. I'm going to go show them what a rock star I've been doing my home therapy. So
show them your kicks. Show them you're fine.
That's right.
All right. Well, Tass, you look great, man. Finally.
Oh, thank you. I'm a little scruffy, but other than that, I'm good, man. Like I said, it's when you're whatever, I won't say bedridden, but couch ridden, right? You tend to start focusing a lot on not only what could I do, but what should I do, but what do I need to get done right now? And there's no better opportunity when I'm being to sit down to lay it all out, get things done. And, even you had me do this the other day, I think ChatGPT, right? The question was, now that you've seen all my conversations, show me my top 5 blind spots, right? And one of those was, you have an unbelievable amount of great ideas, but tend to lag on executing, right? Because I feed ChatGPT every day things, right? And it said, just remember that an idea executed at 70% is better than 100% never executed, something along those lines, right? And it's so true. And what's interesting is when it said that, because I've said for the last 6 weeks, I'm like, my God, I've got like 10 projects that are 80% done right now that I've got to push. I got to start pushing through the finish line. And it reminded me of my 20-year-old self. And then when I prompted ChatGPT and it came up with that, it's funny that it came back and said the exact same thing that I've been thinking. But that's being in tune with who you are as a person. I knew that. I didn't have to have ChatGPT tell it to me. I knew it, but it's a frustrating place to live, man. When you have all this stuff that you've got ideas about and you keep doing new stuff and you don't execute, because nothing's going to happen that way other than you're going to run circles in your mind.
I'll leave everybody with this. In this industry, people are always looking for the next great thing. Be a little smarter and be conscious of looking at how you can make the old things better, how you can present better. Because he said it. It's that we're not launching rockets into space and going to Mars. I mean, that's a little more difficult, I would think, than running a martial arts school, right? There are just certain things that are proven that work very well. But sometimes we got to adapt on how we present it. And don't give up on things where you're like, oh, it worked for me for 15 years. It doesn't work anymore. It does. You just got to tweak it maybe or present it a little differently, right? By the way, because we have data to back it up that it does, that the systems work with, over 250 300 locations, worldwide that we work with or whatever it is. I mean, and we see consistency. So go out there, make it great. Tass, good luck with the PT. Let's touch base later.
All right, buddy. Sounds good. Thanks,
Bye,
everyone,
guys.
for tuning in.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, guys. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.